Are you gonna listen to the move?
I've been out the loop since '09.
Yeah, I'll be back to get at that, though.
Check this. I'm at the motherfucking house last night. Guess what the fuck I see?
What you see?
Shamika, what's up?
Fuck you think you fucking with? It's Maxwell, bitch.
Fuck you in them shoes.
Bitch, I'm about to stalk you with these shoes.
I thought I told you to get a jump to Crazy D.
I did give it to Crazy D. You know D, you must have seen money in that. You know he used to produce those nudie DVDs.
Fuck you, thin man. I know you did it.
Don't let your mouth write a check, cause I will take it out on your ass. Damn, man. You serious?
I don't appreciate being roughed up by men, or should I say male bitches.
Yeah, you gonna work out.
And we look for young ladies like you to host them.
I look like somebody that can host your videos.
That's right. So go change, cause we ain't got all day.
Get off the house.
Really good, though. I'm doing that bullshit.
Crazy. What the hell? How you in my room?
Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast, interviews, movie reviews, and more. Live Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on the Film Review Live channel. Subscribe.
Hi, this is Bernadette Stannis, Thelma from Good Times, and you're watching the Film Review.
What's going on, people? Do we have a great show for you today? It is jam-packed. We're going to get right into it. First of all, we're in a situation that we did not expect, right? Make sure that you join us because we're simulcasting on Crazy D Film Dude on Instagram. We're on Periscope at TFR Podcast Live. We're on Facebook at Crazon Dion page, and also the Film Review Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast page. And we're also broadcasting lively on the Film Review Life channel on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe right now. The chime-in line, 213-943-3358. 213-943-3358. What's going on, Tanya Congress? She's already joined in with us. Make sure that you make your presence known so we can shout you out on this day. Make sure that you smash that like button and that share button, because we are the episode is jam-packed, right? So, like it says up on the screen right now, this is the tribute to Chadwick Boseman, T'Challa, Black Panther, Wakanda for life, right? So this is the tribute, and we're going to give him a great, send off and honor that, he deserves to have. But let's do like we always do. Let's stay with it. How was your week?
Well, it started off a pretty, okay week, other than, watching the hurricanes. Hurricane Laura and Marco, right? And praying for family and friends, and now this. So I'm just saying, 2020 is just
has been something.
It sucks.
Yeah.
And I don't remember who it was, what a celebrity it was, but somebody, they had tweeted, they said, God, please, they said, please, no more, just please. It was just begging, and it was just like, and they had the crying emojis, because it's just been
one
after another. I mean, you with the COVID and, losing loved ones, family members, friends, as well as athletes, like with Kobe, right?
Yeah.
And then just Chadwick, and just so many people who have touched lives, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so now what we're preparing for the fall and the winter,
right?
So something else to deal with.
I
mean, because it's just like the fall and the winter, right? That's the time, those seasons is when people get colds and flus kick in, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the immune system is like really, really vulnerable around that time.
Right.
So then we're adding COVID to it. So, I mean, it's just,
Yeah, it's something else. What can be said? But let's get started, people. So, you know how we do.
But only one good thing this week, though.
What's that?
Happy belated birthday to Baby Day, right?
Yeah, that's right. Our great nephew.
Right.
Yeah, we're into the great nephews already. Wow.
Yeah.
That's something else right there. Okay, people. So as we get started, because we're going to bring his tribute, but you know how we always start, right? We always start with the blurbs of the week.
Right.
American Black Politics. We just finished How Was Your Week?
Right.
It's not, everyone is here. There's a meme that says, at least I'm here.
Right.
But, it's not the great week. So let's go with a little levity first before we kick into what we need to do. All right. So I thought this meme was pretty good.
Okay.
you know, this first one, you know, they call him Baby Yoda, but it's another Yoda, right?
Yeah.
It's another of his species, right? And it says, sometimes I look at people and think, really? That's the sperm that won?
Right.
Sometimes I look at people and think,
right.
Really?
Right.
That's the sperm that won?
Right. I feel that, because when we talked about it earlier, you know, when you think about the people who are always trolling, nasty, mean people, and we'll get around to it, but you know, Keisha Cole addressed this in one of her tweets. I saw it today, you know, regarding Chadwick Boseman, about how people can be wicked and trolling, and exactly, right? Is that the sperm?
Is that the sperm that made it? So
that made it, right?
Then I thought that there would be some apropos memes to go along with that. Now remember, the premise of that meme is sometimes I look at people and think, really? That's the sperm? That's the sperm that won.
Yeah.
This one I call, you know, I got it from off the internet, but they didn't label it, but I call it white boy killers. This is the sperm that won. Did you notice what's funny about, you know, what's the same about all those guys, right? All these dudes, right? Well, they're guys. What's all in common about these guys?
What, they all had dark hair?
No, they all look like misfits.
Yeah,
they all look like they couldn't get a date.
Right.
They couldn't get a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And that's what it looks like. All the girls had to do was be nice to them, and maybe we wouldn't have this.
I'm thinking about the parenting when I look at them. Like, usually the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
Yeah, like the one who did the killing. They said the mother drove him up there, right?
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking at the parents.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Okay, people. So remember the meme's premise.
Right.
Sometimes I look at people and I think, that's the sperm that won? He set up Fred Hampton to die for only $300. $300. He set him up to die for only $300. There are others amongst us today. You know, right? There are others amongst us today. This guy. Yeah. There's a movie coming out about it.
Right.
Right? Now, the way I see it, we have lost a great actor in Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman probably would have been playing Fred Hampton. He probably would have played, because he's played all of the great figures.
Right.
And so now we're with the Get Out guy playing
which he's
Fred Hampton. He's a good actor,
also.
but when I was listening to him do his speech, I didn't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know, maybe I'm just a little jaded because, you know, he's not an American actor. All right, people. So you know what was happening over in GA, right?
Shout out, I can't see.
Let's see. Peace, my brother and sister. I see y'all dropping knowledge once again. Manny Inbish 2020. What's going on with you? Let me wave at you real quick. Thank you for chiming in on here on the Instagram. Remember, we're simulcasting on the Crazy D Film Do Instagram, on Periscope at TFR Podcast Live, on Facebook on Crazon Dion page, and TFR, the Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast page on Facebook, and on YouTube at the Film Review Life channel. We're up, episode 128, right? Look. This has not been getting any traction.
Yeah.
Hasn't been getting any play in the media whatsoever. But this was what was happening in Atlanta, GA.
Okay.
How is finding 39 missing children in a double wide trailer in Georgia not the biggest news story
in America? Exactly. Because I just saw this on the news today. Right?
Right.
For the first time.
What's going on to Joel? I see he just joined in on Facebook. How come that is not the biggest story? For those that are on Instagram, on Crazy D Film Dude page, remember that we go the first hour on here, and then you can catch us on YouTube on the Film Review Live channel, and you can also see in the playback all of the different memes that we're putting up, right?
When did they find them?
They found them, I think they found them a couple of days ago.
So this was before Chadwick Boseman passed away,
Yeah, this is before.
So this should have hit the news.
This should have hit the news big.
Yeah, because I saw it on the news for the first time this morning.
Right? And they had funny stills. They didn't show you the tractor trailer. They just kept showing
It was
you
a quick
cops.
story. It was like a couple of seconds, and they went on to something else.
Yeah, that's not good. It's not good. It's not good juju. It's good, not good karma on the media's part.
I mean, I told you a few episodes ago, I just feel like the media, like this whole child kidnapping, sex trafficking thing, they're like, I don't want to say that they're complicit, but they're not like tackling it the way they should.
They're not tackling because I think
it's crazy.
There's going to be some people that are involved in it that they don't want to be involved in because there's an election going on, right? And they don't want these people, because it's funny how after Jeffrey Epstein was caught and arrested, then he dies, that all of this is all of a sudden falling open. So all of these child pornography rings are connected somehow. Yeah. I'm almost sure of it, and we've talked about it on the show. We've been talking about it way before the R. Kelly situation, right? Which we won't even equate him in to that, because this right here, when you got 3 years old to preteens and teenagers found in a trailer,
and it's being covered up by the media,
biggest story, going. But you know why it's not the biggest story? It's the same reason why the 16-year-old that was shot in the park in Portland, black teenager was shot in the park in Portland, didn't get the big news story like the Caucasian male that was shot yesterday during the protest in Portland, right, where Trump supporters came to town, and then they were each exchanging blows and exchanging projectiles, and someone got shot in the midst of exchanging projectiles in Portland, right? Okay, people. So here's another meme, right? The stupidest part of Africa. No, stay with me. The stupidest part of Africa produced blacks that created algebra. Imagine if you knew that as a child, bruh, right? That's Nas, like bars, right? I thought that was pretty good. The stupidest part of Africa produced blacks that created algebra. Imagine if you knew that as a child, bruh. Nas, right? Now look, that was a long time ago, right? What is Africa producing now, right? That's romanticism, and yes, that's true, right? But what are they producing now with the people coming over and they're recolonizing? Now, this was another meme that I thought was pretty good. I thought it was pretty hot, right? Planet Earth. Selling poison, and it has a image of Mickey D's, right? Selling poison is civilized. selling real food, and they show, I'm going to say it's an African woman, and they show you real oranges.
Fresh fruits and vegetables.
Fresh fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
Selling real food,
right?
Uncivilized, right? Now, why would that be uncivilized, right? Because it's not homogenized, it's not prepackaged, it doesn't have a date of lasting longer than regular food would usually last, and so that's what makes
preservatives.
Right, and so that's what makes it uncivilized, because the civilized person knows how to preserve. Is that what they're saying? Is that what they're trying to say? Because, you know, in actuality, the people who are civilized, who deal in real food, know how to preserve real food. Right. It's just not fake this and fake that and artificial colors and preservatives and additives added in, right? Okay, people, look, here's another meme that I thought was pretty good. I am not going to say 2020 sucks because I'm still here, but I will say that 2020 has been an uphill battle year. Although we will get through this uphill battle.
Okay, that's pretty good. I'll take
now
that.
That is a meme that is uplifting.
That's true. It's uplifting.
That, you know.
It's pretty good.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's an uplifting meme. So I thought that was pretty good. Although we will get through this uphill battle.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
And we need to see more memes.
Right.
Like that, right? That tell you the situation but gives you inspiration to continue on, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was a pretty good meme.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Okay. So now, people. There was a New York Times article that came out, right? And it was talking about the president, right? His 4 days of the RNC, right? Mm-hmm. And the person wrote on the newspaper with marker. Mm-hmm. They said, the New York Times, Trump violates Hatch Act. They just wrote that up. They wrote that up there, covering up the whole story. They covered it up. Then they took a black marker and said, NY Times, is this really the headline? Right. Is this what happened? Right. Trump's use of the White House for a partisan event was an illegal act. The move of a dictator, and it defied the realities. And then the story goes on as you turn it, right? But look, how do you know that? I mean, I just need people to start to think, right? I mean, it's very important that we as a group of people start to think as we head into this, right? Okay. How do they know? Shanine Hicks says, no one cares about victim of sex crimes. Great meme about 2020, she says. Thank you, Shanine.
Hey, Shanine.
I thought it was a great meme, right? So look, how do we know that Trump violated the Hatch Act? And if he violated the Hatch Act, how come they haven't brought him up on charges? That's one thing. Right. The media is telling you this, and the media is telling you this, right? Right. Remember what the media used to say about President Obama? Remember what they used to say? They used to play up the birther thing. They used to play it up. Yeah. Because they didn't know if it was true or not true.
They played it out. The media gave Trump tons of television time. They promoted Trump as if he was the president, because you remember when Trump came down the escalator. When Trump came down the escalator, it was on all the channels as if he was the president.
That's right.
So it's like the media helped put this man where he is today.
But now they cut and they censor. And I can tell you, no matter what people believe, censorship is a problem. Yeah. Anytime that you feel that you have to cut in and correct and give opinion and bring talking heads to give opinion, and that's not necessarily fact.
Yeah, I had a major issue with that, because the DNC and then the RNC, the people should be able to watch it uninterrupted, right?
Yes.
But like the certain channels would stop different people from speaking, and I had an issue when black people would come up and speak. MSNBC, I didn't see CNN do it as much.
No, CNN did break in, but every time there was a black issue,
they blocked that person.
Blocked it
and
out.
They would speak, like the commentators would start speaking. So when we the people should be able to watch the DNC uninterrupted.
That's
right. And the RNC uninterrupted.
That's right.
Like, but see, that goes back to the media. You know, the media is just.
The media.
I don't know. It's not for the people.
And for those who don't know, that is what makes MSNBC racist. It makes it racist. 213-943-3358. 213-943-3358 to call in and talk about what we've been talking about. You figure out what's on, so we can hear what's on your mind, right? 213-943-3358. Don't forget to go over to the Cash App, hashtag TFR Podcast Live. That's hashtag, that's $ TFR Podcast Line. That's $ TFR Podcast Live. And smash a few dollars on that Cash App. We appreciate it. You like what you're hearing. All right, people. Let's get to this. All right. So this is what Tracey was alluding to earlier, where she was talking about the people trolling Chadwick.
And first off, condolences to Chadwick Boseman's family, you know, his friends, and all his fans right across the world. And, you know, like I put on my Facebook page, you know, I just thanked him for sharing his gift with the world, because he was a brilliant man. He could have done anything, right?
That's right. He could have done anything.
You know, and he was educated in his art.
That's
right.
We're gonna get to
and
it.
You'll get into that, and so it's just we're just blessed to have the time that we had.
That's right.
With him.
Right. And you can also read Ryan Coogler's letter on Lordlandfilms.com and our blog Lordlandfilms.com. That's Lordlandfilms.com, and he gives his heartfelt thoughts on Chadwick Boseman, right? But check that out after the show, right? Because it's up on Lordlandfilms.com. Listen. So, you know, I labeled this one trolls are demons. And you know, trolls, you know what trolls are really?
What, people who don't have a life?
No, trolls are demons.
Oh, yeah,
and you know who demons are minions of.
Yeah.
Right? So we can go no further than that. Okay, people. So look. This human experience that we are experiencing, right? This experience, human experience, is like the 3rd season of Westworld on HBO, right? This human experience that we are experiencing right now, going through COVID, and we're losing people, right?
Right.
It's like the 3rd season of Westworld, called New World, right? Tandy Newton as Maeve, Jeffrey Wright as Bernard, Evan Raquel Wood as Dolores. They are in a battle for the type of world that they want to live in. Right? It's much like what American blacks go through today, except each conscious each one of their consciousness is programmed to move the shell the way an outside force expects it to move. Now stay with that now. An outside force expects it to move. Remember, the consciousness within the shell, the ghost within the shell. You've heard the term give up the ghost. The ghost, the consciousness within the shell moves the way someone else expects it to move. So stay with me. We've talked about the hamster wheel, right? It's not the hamster's wheel because the hamster doesn't own it. It's a hamster wheel that the hamster is on, or that we constantly run on. And that is what's happening during these years of civil rights and these years of COVID with our attempts to get off the hamster wheel, right? But what if, like in Westworld season 3, what makes the quote-unquote quote shell move is not held in your skull? What if what makes you move is external to your body? What if your consciousness is nothing more than a module you thought was attached in your head, but is actually fitted on a series of receptors like a string of Christmas tree lights, where each light to work has to connect to the power source by being snapped in, but if removed, the light doesn't shine, nor in the case of what we call consciousness, does not exist if not connected. Right? Let's stay with this let's stay with this, right? And this is what we see in Westworld 3 New World. Maeve exists and moves in the world at the pleasure of the creators of her. Let me say that again. Maeve exists and moves in the world at the pleasure of the creators of her. Bernard moves at the pleasure of Dolores, who believes herself to be free of Westworld in the real world because her module is still in her skull. Bernard's is activated at her pleasure. So Bernard's module is activated at her pleasure. It's the ultimate God-devil narrative with humans at the Tower of Babel. Right? So that's our breakdown of Westworld, right? Westworld 3. Believability. Right. That's a 10. Storyline through line. That's a 10. CGI, green screen, special effects 10. Wardrobe, that's a 10, right? Set design, that's a 10. The God-Devil Human Complex, the God-Devil Human Complex, that's a 10. So what would you rate Westworld?
I agree. The same. Great writing.
It's just great writing.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I remember, I don't know how many episodes back, but we reviewed season 1 of Westworld. And it's consistent. So I would give it the exact same rating that I gave it then.
Right.
Well written, great acting. Tandy Newton appears in episode 2. So she wasn't in episode 1. So I had to go online. I'm like, okay, so episode 1 is almost over. Where's Tandy Newton? So I went online and they said she would be in episode 2, and she was. And then it picked up.
What's going on to Stu Elzy?
Hey, Stu.
He's watching.
And congratulations.
Yeah. His movie is on Amazon.
Yes.
That's right. Reversal.
Yes.
We watched it.
Yes.
The cop scene. What a reversal. What a reversal for fortune for a certain group of people. We're not going to give anything away, right?
But when we saw Stu.
Yeah. Stu
excellent acting as always.
Yeah. His partner was over the top too, you know.
Yeah.
Shani said Ryan's letter was beautiful. Yes, it was. Okay, people. So look, which brings us, right? So we just went through Westworld, but this is what brings us to our tribute of the night.
Okay.
And how this all ties into what we're talking about, Westworld, right?
Okay.
Chadwick Boseman,
Right.
outspoken, conscious brother, classically trained graduate of Howard University, writer of stage, producer on screen, actor of note, with movies including 2008, The Express, the Ernie Davis story, right? 2012, The Kill Hole, right? 2013. Now that's written and produced by a black director, right?
Yeah.
2013, 42. Of course, he plays Jackie Robinson. 2014, Draft Day, Vontae Mack. 2014, Get On Up. Of course, he plays the title role, the man of the hour. You know, the hardest working man in show business, James Brown. Right?
Right.
Get on up. Get on up. 2016, Gods of Egypt. And he plays, let me make sure I got it right.
Okay.
Thoth, right?
Yeah.
Thoth.
Yeah.
Thoth, right? He plays Thoth, right? Which we're going to stop right here for a minute.
Thoth is the god of wisdom.
That's right. So we have to stop right here because Gods of Egypt had an all Caucasian cast, and we know, that Egypt was not Caucasian. And when you see the scene that he's in, let me bring the pictures of him as Thoth. Right? Beautiful picture, right? He is the guy. Tracy's gonna read this, but this is him. Now they should have put him on the poster. And people would have went to go see the film.
Him, like he should have been on interviews promoting the film.
Yes.
I mean, we would have went to see the film had we known.
He was in it. Right. However, we didn't know he was in it because,
and why?
Because they wanted to keep the fake thought that Egypt was Caucasian. And when you see the one guy, I was trying to see if I was looking at Escape from New York or Escape from LA with the guy with the eye patch on. I thought he was trying to emulate Kurt Russell in the piece, right? 213-943-3358. So this is what Chadwick had to say about being in that movie.
Yeah, in the Gods of Egypt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the filmmakers behind Gerard Butler's film Gods of Egypt, they received lots of criticism for whitewashing, right? Because both Butler and his co-star Nicola Wadu, right? They both play Egyptian deities, right? So Chadwick, he has like a small scene. He's briefly seen in the film, but he plays Thoth, the god of wisdom. So in the GQ interview, Chadwick said he agrees with the uproar and is thankful people are infuriated, going on to say that people don't make 140 million movies starring black and brown people.
$140 million film.
Right. He said, wow, starring black, right, or brown people. And he was shaking his head, right, while saying this, right? He told the magazine, I generally try to tune things out like press controversy. He said, but people around him told him you might want to look at this. So he said, when I originally was approached with the script, he said, I thought this critique might come up, right? Because like we said before, he's conscious. So he knew when he read the script that the whole issue would come up because it is a whitewashing, right?
Whitewashing.
So he said, I'm thankful that I did it because actually I agree with the uproar, right? He said, that's why I wanted to do it. He said, so you would see someone of African descent playing Thoth, right? Who is the father of mathematics, astronomy, and the god of wisdom.
You see how the things tie in. You see how our memes tie in. Like Nas said, the dumbest thing that blacks ever did, Africans ever did, where they produced blacks that created algebra.
Right.
What if we knew that in school, bruh?
Right.
And you see, and here we are with the
right.
They did what?
And then his thought is, so right here, right? So you see the multiple thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the film, there's multiple, right, thoughts. It's not just one. There's multiple.
Because he has the power to recreate himself.
Right. So he said, in the film, I actually outnumber the other gods in the movie. He said literally and figuratively. Because again, look at all the gods, right? He said it's hard for people to know that without seeing it.
Right.
He said, but yeah, people don't make $140 million movies starring black and brown people, and again shaking his head.
Right.
But they didn't, like he said, people wouldn't know that without seeing him that he was in it. They didn't
put him
promote
on the poster.
Him. They didn't have him on the talk shows. They, so.
You want to know why? Because at that point, they didn't know what they had. And they probably will redo the box now.
Of course they will.
Post-mortem.
Right.
They probably will do the box and they will have him on there.
Right.
As Thoth.
So people can watch it, right? Because the film didn't do well.
So within two films within that year, just like the previous year, he was in 2 films.
Right.
2016 was Captain America: Civil War. He played T'Challa, Black Panther, right? 2016, Message from the King. If you have not seen this movie,
reviewed this film. This is like one of our favorite films.
One of our favorite films.
And what I love about Message from the King is, you can see it on Netflix, but he produced the film.
That's right. And it is international butt kicking, but we're going to get to that. 2017, Marshall. Of course, he plays the title character, Thurgood.
He also produced that film.
2018, Black Panther, T'Challa. Right. 2018, Avengers, Infinity Wars, T'Challa.
Right.
2019, Avengers, Endgame, T'Challa. Right. 2019, 21 Bridges.
Which is one of our favorites. Like I had that on my Instagram page.
He also produced this film
and acted in it. He was really proud of that film.
And Stephen James.
Yeah, they did great acting against each other.
There's a scene in the kitchen, right? There's a chase scene, and then there's a sequence that starts with a chase scene and winds into a kitchen, right?
Right.
And there's a discussion that takes place that as you watch the film, you know that would only happen between 2 black men, or you would hope that would happen, one being a police officer and one being accused of a crime, that would happen. You need to watch that. Beautiful writing,
Beautiful writing. Chadwick did such a great job producing that film, and now knowing that he was dealing with colon cancer
at the time.
And what's interesting is, I'm hoping most of you have seen this film, because I mean, you're a Chadwick Boseman fan, like 21 Bridges you've seen already, but and you know this already, but in the film, his mother was battling cancer.
Yeah. That's something.
Yeah, and the thing is like you said, the scene between the 2 actors. I mean, it's a powerful scene, and I love the way this film was written. Like the way the 2 characters are interacting with each other, and he did a great job producing that film.
That's right, and so
great film.
4 years of having a battling colon cancer, starting with stage 3.
Yeah.
That's 2016. That's Gods of Egypt, Captain America. That's 2016. Also 2016, Message from the King. That's 3 films within 2016. 2017, Marshall. 2018, Black Panther. 2018, Avengers Infinity Wars. 2019, Avengers Endgame. 2019, 21 Bridges, where he's playing opposite an actor who is playing his mother who is dying of cancer. 2020, The Five Bloods. He plays Norman Earl Stormin Norm Holloway, right?
Do you know in the interview, they interviewed him, and the person that interviewed him, she asked him, your body of work, you have a huge body of work, you're a great actor. What character did you enjoy doing the most? It was him.
The Five Bloods.
The Five Bloods.
Norman Earl.
He said he loved playing that character.
That's right. And then,
because in my mind, I don't want to cut you off, but I'm thinking, people would think, oh, he's going to say Black Panther or maybe one of his other films, but he said that was his favorite
film, right?
Yeah, character.
So, post-mortem.
Okay.
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Yeah. He's gonna play Levy. Okay. Opposite Viola Davis. Right. Right. That's to be announced. That's Spike Lee's film also. Okay. So from 2016 all the way up until the end, he was working. Right. He was working. Right. With this.
That's Denzel directing that one, I think.
Okay. And he knew this, and he did not let on, and he was a consummate professional, and he worked and he did this under these circumstances to leave not only a legacy, but he was working for his family, right? Born November 29th, 1976, died August 28th, 2020, height 6 foot tall. Right. Chadwick Boseman demanded to portray characters who were of movement and uplifting portrayals of the black race, African descent. And that's what makes him the American black actor of note in this time of civil rights, human rights, ending his consciousness in the time of coronavirus, COVID-19, passing from a 4-year battle with colon cancer, right? Yeah. He's actually the American black actor of the decade, of the century, I think, of this century. Yeah. He's going to go down with this body of work as being the African American, or as we call it, American black actor of this century, right? Right. His body. So, what would you rate his body of work?
Well, first of all, I'm going to go back to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Okay, let me go right here. Shanine says, Gods of Egypt was a horrible movie, and Chadwick was the only redeeming part. He even said it was a horrible movie. That's right. Yeah. But he made sure that presence was there, and he played the role with dignity, because you could tell that they wanted to make the role comic relief. Yeah. But the way he played the role, he played it not dumbed down, but up with regal and powerful.
Yeah, he did.
Go ahead.
Okay, so in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, it's going to be directed by George C. Wolfe.
Okay, George C. Wolfe.
Right, and it's produced by Denzel Washington and Ty Black.
Oh, okay. All right. So I got some misinformation there. His body of work is a 10.
Yeah.
One of our favorites that he acted, produced is Message from the King.
Yeah.
Black man, international butt kicking, and his portrayal of Thoth in Gods of Egypt, where he portrays the only representation of who the Egyptians were, black, with dignity and uprightness and a flair of wit,
right,
where we can tell
right,
the character was written to be comic relief.
When we saw a Message to the King,
Mm-hmm.
that was the period where we said, you know, we need to do like a film review. I said, because we saw a lot of, we were seeing really good black films.
Mm-hmm.
And
but nobody was touching them.
And nobody was touching them, right?
Right.
So we reviewed that film, right? And then it's a great film. So if you haven't seen it, definitely you can check it out on Netflix. But while putting all of this together, I was, looking at some of the reviews, and I was looking at how Rotten Tomatoes had given like some of his work like a not good review. And I'm just like thinking, like, are you kidding me? Because we know what a great actor he is.
Right.
But sometimes I don't know if I don't know. But Chadwick Boseman is definitely, he played a major part in us doing the film review. Because we said there are so many great actors, black actors, right, who are not giving the same spotlight the other white actors are given, as far as being on television, on talk shows, reviewing certain films. If it's a big budget film, yeah, you'll see a black actor. But if it's not considered a big budget, they don't even give them like time, time.
But at the same point, they give a coffee house film by a Caucasian.
Right, they'll let them sit on somebody's couch and do an interview, and it can be a small budget film. And so, so this is one of the reasons why we was like, no, we need to do a film review so we can review films coming from our point of view, because some people may not get the humor, or they don't understand the dialogue, or the, because we saw that a lot. Over the years, we've seen so many great films, like for instance, the one Outcast.
Oh, Idlewild.
Absolutely. That movie was amazing, a classic. But then, like, the critics crapped on it.
Yep. Sure
and it's such a great film.
Such a great film.
And so now, you'll see it. But at the time, they gave it a bad review. I'm like, they just don't understand the culture, the music. They just don't get it. So I said,
don't get it.
We need to do it. But yeah, when we saw Message to the King, we were like, what's going on? Why isn't there a big hubbub about this?
He was kicking butt in that, like, international butt. And see, that's what it is about writing. Like, I often tell the story, but when we first moved out here in 2012, I was producing the Black Ice Chronicles back home in Cleveland. So when I brought it here, I was searching for actors. It took me about a year. But what I discovered was that many of the producers had black actors in the back. Right? And so I would test read the same actors that they had in the back. I would just send out, auditions.
So
and
in the back, like people playing extras in the film.
They would play extras, right? So these same people would be coming, and then they would audition. I say, if you can interpret my lines and bring them to life the way that I intended them, because I don't write buffoonery, and that's very important. You can get a laugh from just it being a situation that people actually experience, right? And what I found is, with many of the Caucasian producers out here, is what they produce, because they haven't gone past 10 blocks, or maybe they just drive out to LA. But when you come from a situation where you're American black and you come from situations where you see me, I was blessed because I was able to see many different people come through the store.
Okay.
So I saw blue collar, white collar, all types of people come through the door, right? And so that's how I was able to shape the story. Right. But so when Chadwick Boseman talks about having dignity in the roles, all I write is dignity. If I write a pimp character, he's not, hey man, how you doing? This ain't no, it's, I'm gonna get you sucker. That was about the stereotype of what it was, right? So, kudos to them, to for Wayans for bringing that to life. But you don't write that. You write them with the dignity that they have, and people will get a laugh because, oh, my cousin sound like that, or my sister sound like that. Or if you bring a person that's this drug head, you write them with the dignity, and people will see and say, oh yeah, it's all in what you experience. And those who haven't experienced life shouldn't try to write life because they'll get it wrong. And so that's what I see. So even in his TV roles, like Persons Unknown and Lincoln Heights, he portrayed black characters without the stereotypical design many non-black director producers envision for black characters, actors, or what they think the American black community is about. Chadwick Boseman, with no personal drama, with the same woman since college. Rest in paradise. I give him a 10.
I give him a 10 too. And I want to go back to this one film because it is the screenplay was done and it's directed by a young black director, right? So he also plays a soldier, right? And a kill hole, right? So where he plays a troubled Iraq vet, right? And so, and another black actor plays his co-star, Tori Kittles, right? And so that's a really great film too. It's speaking of small independent films. Right. This was like it wasn't a big budget Hollywood film, but it's a smaller, small budget film, which is really good. Like Message to the King. Yeah. Right. Well put together. And so is that one.
Shanice said he was my favorite. She also says that's good. If you hadn't experienced that life, you shouldn't write about it. That's right. I give him 1,000,000. Shanice says that's right. So rest in paradise, right? To Chadwick Boseman. Right. Wakanda forever.
Right. What's that called? I can't even think of the name, but in New York where a lot of great black minds come together. And well, anyway, he grew up under that, right? So because we were watching, what is it, Sarnetta TV, and Dr. Reggie, this was like years ago, right? Maybe this was way before Black Panther.
Yeah.
Was this like
this was coming, Black Panther was getting ready to come. Yeah. That's what it was
so
about.
So maybe this was like in 2016, maybe, or 17. But they talked about how Chadwick, he grew up, as a teen in this, like, in a hub, like, of people who are like conscious great minds of the conscious community. So with him, like I have posted on one of my things, he wasn't just I don't know if we'll get another him, honestly. I mean, because he was a great actor, but he also was very conscious, right? That's right. And
he was ours, though.
Yeah, he was. He was the real deal. He was actually for like his people. He knew his history. That's why he wanted to play Thor. because he knew that he was the God of wisdom. He knew about the arithmetic. Mm-hmm. His background is that very knowledgeable, mm-hmm. Right? So even if had he been an actor, I wouldn't have been surprised to see him be like a Black Studies professor, because he literally, like, he knew his history. Mm-hmm. And another thing he did was, while he was battling cancer, he spent a lot of time doing the Make-A-Wish, mm-hmm. Spending time with sick children who were dying as well. Yeah. Terminal illnesses. So, mm-hmm. I mean, he was like a great human being. Mm-hmm. And like, when we learned he passed, I was just like, first thing I thought is, we will never get another one of him. Mm-hmm. I mean, because there are plenty of really good actors out there, but not many that's woke, as they say.
That's doing woke things, right?
Right.
Like, he was ours, right?
Right.
Unlike Sidney Poitier, who was an immigrant, or Harold Belafonte, who was an immigrant. Both of them great actors, brought the situation home for us, was able to tell our stories when they weren't letting in actors from black actors, American black actors from America in those films. These immigrants stepped in and were able to tell our story, and were in the fight before the 1965 Immigration Act, which shifted things. We have to go research that. But so they did that. But Chadwick Boseman was ours. He was born here. His people who have lineage here. Yeah. He was ours. So he will truly.
Was it South Carolina, right?
That's right. He was truly be missed, right?
Yes.
But what if what we are collectively living is artificial, like WW3? What if we are on a hamster wheel that we can't get off, or we don't want to get off?
Right.
Either way, programmed to do and act so. Programmed to do or act so, right?
Right.
We're in election season again. This time, election 2020. This time, much like the 50s and before, much like the 1950s and before, race is on the ballot, because it is a quote-unquote race. The Dems blame the social ills on Trump. Trump blames the Dems for the conditions of American blacks. And the two types of American blacks are on the hamster wheel, treading away. The coons for the Dems, the coons for the repubs, and then there are the conscious, who are voting for either party but still fight for America, right?
We saw a man on the news today. Was he? I forget. I don't even know if he was a councilman or a former detective, or I don't know. I was just thrown off because he kept saying Eric Floyd.
Yeah. Now, if you,
I was just like.
Now we're probably going to talk about that, because we have a new show that my wife is producing, which is myself and my sister Tanya. It's called Observations. We come on Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, right?
Right.
And we talk about that. So we're probably going to talk about that and show that clip, because if you ever want to see the definition of a coon.
Like, we have to find that clip.
If you ever want to see a definition of a coon, then you have to watch that. And we're going to talk about that. We're getting ready to end on Instagram, because we're only there for an hour. But make sure that you jump over to YouTube, the Film Review Life channel, and we're out for right now. Yeah, right there. So people, we're only an hour on Instagram. You know how they do it. But we're on Periscope at TFR Podcast Live. We're on Facebook at the Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society, Politics page on Facebook. And on Crazy on Dion on Facebook. And on YouTube, the Film Review Live channel. The Film Review Live channel. Make sure you smash the like buttons on everything, because, we telecast and simulcast, and we do all that just for you. 213-943-3358. Whatever you want to talk about, call on in. We'll take your calls.
Because I just have to say, when that man did that this morning, and then this guy was on Fox, I'm telling you, like we said, we watch all the channels. So you have to, because the MSNBC pissed me off, CNN, they pissed me off, and the Fox pissed me off. Like they all everyone, they all have their shining moments, but then there's always something that'll just
throw you off.
Yeah, and this was a older black gentleman, and he's like what do they call those people? A contributor, Fox contributor, right?
Right.
And the reporter had to correct him.
Yeah, he
said, "Sir, I think you're talking about George Floyd."
You kind of conflated the two. You said you kind of conflated Eric Garner with George Floyd. Because I was like, is he trying to be? Is he trying to be funny? So we searched it. I would say, what is George Floyd's middle name? Maybe he's calling him
because
Eric.
His middle name is Perry, so that wasn't it, right? And then so with this guy, and then the guy was just. He was just looking stupid, and the reporter ended the story.
No, he really didn't look stupid.
He was just stupid.
No, he didn't. Well, he looked stupid to us, but he was like, yeah.
No, but he looked embarrassed.
No, he didn't look embarrassed. He was still happy. He was like, yeah,
because he was just like, how are you sticking to this? You're so against protests, and you're so this and that, and you can't even get the person's name right.
See, you have to watch more than what makes you feel. What releases your dopamine. You have to watch other stations and channels besides what releases your dopamine, right?
Because I didn't find out about the children, the sex trafficking. I saw that on Fox.
On Fox, right? Because the other channel's not covering it because somebody
it's all it's crazy.
Because somebody they like.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. I was pissed when I saw Bill Clinton speaking. I'm like, are y'all kidding me? Are you kidding me? Right? So then the whole media wanna, what are they trying to do? This whole Epstein thing, they want to push under the rug? Well, you can't, because Ghislaine still has her trial, right? And then you have the documentary that was just on Lifetime a few weeks ago, and then you have the documentary that's on Netflix, right? So you can't wash over the fact that you have President Clinton as well as President Trump both had ties to this man, right? So so that's fine, but I was surprised to see Bill Clinton speak. The same day they showed pictures of him and a woman that was with one of
massaging his back.
I'm like, am I living in an altered universe? Is this like an alternative universe? I'm like, come on, this is serious.
Somebody is involved, and so that's why they're not covering these stories.
Covering up the whole sex trafficking thing. I just thought that this just happened. You telling me this happened prior to Chadwick Boseman passing away? You know, and I'm like, well, maybe because he passed away, that kind of pushed that story back, but that's not the case because
they were just not covering anyway. But what if all of this that we're talking about is WW3, Westworld 3?
It is.
What if what's in your skull, which is called the brain, is not the center of your consciousness, but just a receptor to receive what is set from a module connected to the larger connector. And when you are unplugged or the signal is turned off for the night, you die or sleep. What do I mean? That's pretty self-explanatory, but let's look at the hamster wheel consciousness and how it pertains to race, racism, coronavirus, and who you're programmed to vote for or not vote for. Let's go over it again. That's pretty self-explanatory, but let's look at it. The hamster wheel consciousness. The hamster wheel consciousness and how it pertains to race, racism, coronavirus, and who you're programmed to vote for or not vote for. Let's look at American black killings at the hands of police officers and black thought on who's in the presidential seat at the time. So let's look at the black consciousness and how we look at who's in the presidential seat and how we judge them at the time, right? Okay, so look.
It's ridiculous because I want to know how at the DNC conference, the whole George Floyd's bill, I mean, I was waiting for them to roll that out and say, hey, we're going to get that passed, get it pushed through. I mean, y'all, they want your vote, right? Same with the RNC. I'm thinking that, Tim Scott spoke. I'm thinking they said, we're going to wrap something up. We're going to get something done, something pushed. We're going to push that Justice Act. I didn't see that done. So I didn't see it with neither one of the parties. And then meanwhile, fast forward, then we have another death, right? And then it's just like
Jacob Blake, right?
It's crazy.
So
it's crazy.
So let's
so it is the Westworld. Yeah, you're right.
So let's look at this and let's look at how we're programmed to look at who is in the White House and how we judge them, how lenient we are to them, or how hard we are on
it. Don't matter which party, right?
So it doesn't matter. We're going through both. So let's start with Jacob Blake's mom. She was on CNN. On CNN Tonight with that ever polished interviewer, Don Lemon. And this is what happens when she's asked a question about Donald J. Trump. Here we go.
Do you have anything to say, Ms. Jackson, to the politicians who are out there, or anything you want to say? To the presidents or the candidates, or to Trump or Biden or anything like that?
For our President Trump, first I want to say a family member, and I don't know if it was heard or not, said something that was not kind. She is hurting, and I do apologize for that. Our outburst that does not reflect our behavior. And then also for President Trump, I'm sorry I missed your call, because had I not missed your call, maybe the comments that you made would have been different. And I'm not mad at you at all.
Okay, let me pause this for a minute. Now look. We have our logos up, and of course we have the FBI because we have to protect the images that we're playing here, right? But you have to see Trump's face.
Oh my God!
Right, because during the initial press conference where they brought up her two daughters. I think a cousin spoke too, right? And then the father spoke, right? He got up there and made it a political issue about Trump. Now, my question about this, my question always is, does racism exist? Did racism exist before Donald Trump got into office? Did racism exist when Obama was in office, when Bush 2 was in office, when Clinton was in office, when Bush 1 was in office, when Ronald Reagan was in office, right? When Carter was in office, when Ford was in office, when Nixon was in office, when JFK was in office. Did racism exist?
Yes.
He made it political in the middle of talking about getting justice
I thought that was
for
important.
Jacob Blake.
Right.
He makes it political and talks about the March on Washington on that Sunday. Now, we didn't watch the March on Washington because there is no one there. I mean, I like the different players that we have in the game of Black liberation today. Jesse is out because he's going through some kind of dementia things we hear. So he's not speaking anymore. So I kind of like the new people that are coming up, but I don't think Tamika Mallory was there. Like you don't have Tamika Mallory there, and she's one of the loudest voices. Something is strange. Strange, almost strange fruit, right? So look, I like the new players that we have, but none of them are as brilliant as Martin Luther King Jr., right? The Reverend Doctor, or you can say doctor because he got his doctorate, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. None of them are as brilliant as he. None of them were brilliant as he. And you should research them. You should find out what he was doing at 16 years old. Where most 16-year-olds don't know what they're gonna do. What he was doing. So let's
and
rewind
can
this
people
back.
stop putting? I said it last week, right? Martin Luther King, right? Civil rights leader, right? Pastor of his church, right? Different category. Barack Obama, President of the United States.
That's right.
Politician.
Right.
Please stop conflating the two. Please.
Malcolm X.
Please, just please.
Human rights activist. Different than a politician, right? So let's play this again. Let's listen
Malcolm
to what...
X too.
That's right.
He wasn't a politician.
So please, whoever put the poster together with Obama sitting there, Obama is not even from... I guess you could say he was partly some of that lineage because Malcolm's people were immigrants too, but they were immigrants before 1965.
Yeah, but
so what I'm saying, let me finish. So 1965, they were immigrants.
Different.
Obama got one immigrant and one. So I mean, it's not
different agendas, though. Different agendas. Obama's a politician.
That's right.
Martin Luther King was for his people.
Right.
Two different things.
Okay, so let's play this now. Let's play this.
The politicians who are out there, or anything you want to say to the presidents or the candidates or to Trump or Biden or anything like that.
For our President Trump, first I want to say a family member, and I don't know if it was heard or not, said something that was not kind. She is hurting, and I do apologize for that. Our outburst that does not reflect our behavior. And then also for President Trump, I'm sorry I missed your call, because had I not missed your call, maybe the comments that you made would have been different. And I'm not mad at you at all. I have most respect for you as the leader of our country. Like I said before, and I'm not saying this to him directly, we should always get the details from the right source before we start throwing bricks.
Apprentice producers.
That's right. And so you see people from...
Can we just say that CNN, Don Lemon is like the bright shining light of CNN, because throughout, whenever there is an uprising or whatever issue there is in the Black community, he's there to report it. He's there to give the facts. Like when he did the interview with April Ryan, she didn't want to hear the truth, but he was being objective. He said, yes, Kamala is a black woman, right? A woman of color. But he said, but she's not of African American lineage.
American black. She's not American
right.
black.
So he was trying to, he said, and that's fine. He said, that's just like, he said, well, there are people who are Jamaican, descent. They're Jamaicans. They're still black, He said, or from the islands, they're still black. But it's okay if we don't say she's not he said she's not African American. And she just argued with him. But, I mean, he was clear-headed and being objective. And then I think that's just the issue. A lot of people are, like, wrapped in their own subjective type thing, and they're not thinking analytically, right?
Yeah. So, look, Janet,
okay,
Jacob Blake's mother,
okay,
said that, and even Don Lemon was stunned because they tried Julia, excuse me. Yeah. They try to make things seem, make everything political, right. And it's not political. Some people are not playing the political game because they're trying to fight for their son. Right. He's trying. The father might be, because I don't remember if she spoke, because we didn't watch it, but the highlights was the father and some other people who seem to be new on the scene. It's coming through, not new on the scene, but through the
him after she got her call. Because you remember after she talked about that, then the next day,
then they called.
He said Biden and
called him, and so they play a little divide and conquer.
So
because
I'm thinking,
they
look, y'all, their son is like fighting for his life. Are you kidding me? This is what irritates me with politics. I'm like, he's fighting for his life. Are you kidding me? Y'all not even passing bills. Okay. And people are falling for the okie doke. I mean, are you kidding me?
Okay. So, Joy, Joy is Joy Ann Reed. Her people are immigrants, but she's Joy Reed now, right? She dropped that Joanne off because that's kind of like not an American blackish type thing. So, she had Bill Maher on her show. And Bill Maher, again, is sounding the alarm. Like, they're taking polls and they're using the polls they want to use, and they're saying that Trump is losing. Trump was losing 4 years. Supposedly, he was losing 4 years ago to Hillary. And what he's doing is, in my opinion, out-hustling. He's out-hustling Biden. Like, why would you get a candidate? Something was going on with Hillary where she was sick. Remember she did that stumble, and then I think she hit her head on the thing, and then she was off, talking about she was spending time with her grandchild. Like, you're in a campaign and you took 2 weeks off to spend with your grandchild. Biden is in the basement. Biden is finally going to come out.
Trump Pelosi trying to stop the damn debates.
And so Trump said that Biden should get a drug test, because when I looked at Biden, I thought maybe it was the Botox, because his wrinkles are coming in. I thought maybe the Botox had hit a vein and was slowing him down. But then I said, and then you said, like maybe a couple of days later, or we said it around the same time, that he might be on something right? And so Trump wants him to take a drug test, right? And so, Trump said that way after we had that observation that Biden is kind of talking just a little bit faster, but he's still diminished in his way. But this is what Bill Maher had to say.
Apprentice producers who put this thing together. It was a smoothly produced thing. The content wasn't thrilling, but the messaging was very specific. If you voted for Donald Trump last time and you're feeling a little icky about it because of the racism and because of the, saying neo-Nazis had good...
How I know that Joy Reid comes from parents that were immigrants, possibly after 1965, is white people do not feel icky about racism. We can just wipe that on mind, because you will, no matter how much of a liberal person that you find, there will be something that they say, that they do, that they act upon that shows that they still believe in white privilege, even if it's unconscious white privileness. It is what it is, and if their way of life is threatened, believe you me, they have no ickiness about racism. So this whole line that MSNBC is trying to push, she's misinformed. There is no ickiness.
I'm surprised she said the production was because that night she was saying how horrible it was.
Yeah, but everybody knows you can't deny what you see. Me, myself, as an editor, as a filmmaker, and as a person who has done live television, right? Mm-hmm. That production was extremely nice. It was well put together.
It was,
well
but
produced.
I'm surprised that she just said that just now, because like I said, we watch all the channels, and that night she was talking about how horrible it was. But then right now, talking to Bill Maher, she's saying something different. So see, this is the kind of stuff that gives me a headache.
It was like a well put together remix tape, right? It was a mega mix tape, and it was well put together with all of the artists and new artists that you hadn't seen, and some you hadn't seen in a while, all put together in this gumbo. It was way well produced, better than what the DNC. And we talked about the DNC. At the end, what's going down. I mean, what was that? Like it
was like
dropout. That's an old 1970 when video first came out. The way they dropped old boy out at the end singing the song. It's very cool.
I mean, see, it's easy to glaze over like the policies, right? Mm-hmm. And bills that need to be passed if we push shiny, pretty objects like celebrities, right? So then that way everybody's dazzled by the celebrities, and they're no longer talking about policies and issues, again, that are affecting people who are out here protesting, and they are putting their lives out there on the line, and people are dying in the streets. Mm-hmm. But we're going to focus on these shiny objects right here and let people perform and sing and dance. Like, that wasn't cool. But anyway.
Let's go right here.
Messaging was very specific. If you voted for Donald Trump last time and you're feeling a little icky about it because of the racism and because of the, saying neo-Nazis had good people among them and all that, don't worry about it. Look at these 4 black guys. They like him. Look at these women. They think he's nice. Like, it was literally just a permission slip saying you can do this again. And I guess that's the question, right? Whether or not people will take the permission slip. White voters who voted for him last time who are weirded out now.
Yeah, it was very effective. I saw that one gentleman, I think he was the Attorney General. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, African-American gentleman, and he was pushing back on Joe Biden, saying, if you vote for Trump, you ain't black. And I don't think that is a good thing for Joe Biden to have said. He said, I have my own mind. Now, I don't get what's that reasoning, but I don't get, people do have their own minds. I have never been a fan of conformity. I have never been a fan of we all wear pink on Wednesday. We all have to do this. We all have to say this. We all have to do this then. I don't bend the knee. And I get that people are pushing back on that kind of stuff. So, look, like I was just saying, I feel very nervous. Yeah. The same way I did 4 years ago at this time.
So always.
Okay.
And that's
All right, people. So look. Let's break this down now. You have 2 different perspectives. One is telling you that they feel nervous about what's getting ready to happen, right? Because if you watch that, Donald Trump is out to compete. That's what Tim Scott said when the Democrats scuttled the Justice Act in the Senate, that he's out to compete for the American black vote. He's out to compete for it. Tim Scott, right? Then you have the mother of Julia, of
Jacob, right?
Yeah, Jacob Blake, basically saying, because people see how policies are working, so they can see how the policies are working, right? So let's break this down real quick. Let's look at this, because we have some statistics, you know, because this is American black politics, and so this is what's happening now, right? Let's look at this real quick, because, you know, we here at the Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast, we bring information.
Right.
Hashtag TFR Podcast Live.
Right.
Make sure you smash that like button and that share button and subscribe to the channel right now, the Film Review Live channel, because we bring information.
And we bring it objectively, because we are not Democrats and we are not Republicans. We are for the people.
For the people.
So,
we're for American blacks, right? So look, people.
No brainwashing here.
So look, people. This was updated today, August 30th. This is a website. Fatal Force, this is called. 1,016 people have been shot and killed by police in the past year. Now this is updating, right?
Right.
As we go along. This is the past year. So that would be 19, right? So this is being updated, right?
Right.
So as we go through, so let's look at this. So that's 1,016, right? Okay. Obama.
Okay.
Under Obama, 2015, by The Guardian, then 1,134 deaths of black men at the hands of police, right? Shootings. So we're looking at 2015 and 2019. So this is the year before the election, and this is the year before Trump's year before the election of Trump's year, right? Of trying to be reelected. This is at the end of Obama's presidency, right?
Okay.
1,134 deaths of black men by police officers, right? Trump, 2019, 1,016 have been shot by police, right? Let's go through some of the ones that were shot. July 16th, let's go through what kicked off with Obama, that really kicked it off, which gave police departments that had some race soldiers carte blanche to start killing. It was July 16th, 2009. Henry Louis Gates was outside of his home.
Right.
And he was trying to get in. He's a college professor. He's on the college campus. And here comes the police. And they stop him and they hassle him and they take him in the house. Do you actually live in this house? He's asking him all those questions. You know those questions because for some reason, some Caucasians don't believe that people can afford things, but he was a university professor. Did he ever watch PBS? Because Henry Louis Gates is on PBS at least once, twice, maybe 3 times a month with different specials.
Or if not that, you can look at the man and tell that he wasn't breaking into.
So they had to have a beer summit, because people forget, so we have to re-jog your memory. They had the beer summit, and then they sat there eating peanuts and drinking beer instead of, when Obama tore into them initially, he got such a backlash, and he said, wow, these people are protecting me. And that's how he was all the rest of his presidency, right? Then we go to July 19th, 2013, Trayvon Martin. August 9th is Michael Brown. December 2014, Eric Garner. June 17th, AME Church, 9 shot, North Carolina.
Was that the
Dylan
church
Roof.
where he went in and sang the gospel song?
He sang the gospel song? Yeah. How about that? Right.
Okay.
So look.
No legislation was passed.
No legislation was passed.
But he went in there and sung the gospel song.
So amazing grace.
Yeah, they don't need that. They need legislation passed.
How sweet thou sound. Come on, everybody. Who saved the preacher? Did you see the preacher? He went and he stood up. The videotapes are there. Symbolic. We don't need symbolic anything, right? Again, 2015, 1,134 deaths. Trump, 2019, 1,016 deaths. What is the media reporting, right? 2020 right now. On average, by this report, you can search it on Google. On average, cops kill about 1,000, on average, 1,000 people a year by this report, right? 1,000 people per year. And right now, in 2020, the average is below right now because it's only 661 police killings, right?
Okay.
Only 661 police killings, right?
Okay.
Other presidents from 1980 to 2008, looking at victim versus offender. 50% white were killed, who were victims, were killed, right? By this is homicides. Victims, no, actually, these are victims that were killed by police officers. 50% were white, 47.4% were black.
Okay.
Offenders, 45% white were killed by white officers, 52.5% were black, right?
Right.
Between 1950 to 2010, homicides have gone down, right? Now, this is just homicide. This is just crime. Now, I'm breaking a lot of statistics for you. Blacks are 42 million of the population, and they are 32 per million to get murdered by police officers, right? I'm going to say murdered. Hispanics, just to throw them on in there as a contrast, are 39 million of the population, and they are 24 per million to be killed by police officers. Whites are 197 million in population, and they are 13 per million to be killed by police officers, right? But because they are such the larger population, that makes them about 50% of those that are killed. But because African Americans or American blacks are 42 million of the population versus their 197 million, disproportionately by population, blacks are killed by police officers, right?
Right.
What is the media feeding you, though? When you look at these statistics, what is the media feeding you, right?
Right.
Homicides are down. More blacks were killed by police officers under Obama than Trump. What did Obama do? Nothing. What did Bush do? Nothing. What did Clinton do? Nothing. Oh, wait a minute. He put 100,000 police officers out on the streets, and he did the 3 strikes, and you're out. What did Bush 1 do? Nothing. Oh, wait a minute. 100-1 crack laws, right? Pushed by Biden in the Senate, which decimated the black community, right? Are we going to hold people accountable for what they do to the black community, right?
You know what? We love David Banner, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a song, right, called Evil Knievel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then his lyrics, right? He
Mm-hmm.
said, they gave us Obama like it was going to stop the fight, like it was going to stop the cause. Folks still scrapping. Okay, so I'm looking at that's making me think of the protesters, right? Okay, trying to find them, and this is the everyday person,
Mm-hmm.
trying to find them socks and drawers and something to eat, right? So people still struggling, no matter who you got in office, right?
Right.
So he says, the IRS is coming, so I'm back on these beats. Barack pushed hope, Reagan pushed dope, Clinton pushed something down a young girl's throat. And he's speaking at the damn DNC. So, you know what?
And was getting massages by younger girls.
So I'm just like, people are, taking it back to this whole Westworld.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't even know if it's the damn Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
But all I know is that these politicians are able to get away with anything, and people are walking around like drones. And people, the average everyday person, people are out there like fighting, right? So, and they're fighting for these politicians to do what they're supposed to, right? Some people are. And then you have some people that's just complicit, and they just say, oh, well, and then they're everybody's free, not everybody, but some people's go-to is like Trump, but that's not solving anything.
That's not something
It's not solving anything.
What we're trying to show you is racism existed before Trump. We're not popping fresh in this political stuff. I've been registering people to vote since I was 19 years old. I'm 49 years old. I've been 30 years in this game. I've heard it all. When people say we've got to get more into the political system and get into it, heard it all before, and seen it all before, and it doesn't matter what president gets in there, the conditions don't get better. You might have some euphoria for a minute with the symbolicness of it, but after it all fades, you find out that it was all just glittery things that was not gold, right?
Right.
So, what did Ronald Reagan do? This is what we're showing you, that nothing has changed since the civil rights, because once the people signed the civil rights, they seem to have had remorse. And the Democrats has been about trying to keep you at heel ever since then. And certain people pass through and come up in Democrats who are American black. Most of them are immigrants now, first and second. Immigrant blacks and not American black who built this. They come through and they play by the rules and nothing is ever better. This is the statistics, right? 42 million. But you see the line, that's the Mexicans, that's whites, that's others, right? And then let me show you the last one so that we can have it up so that you can definitely go do your research and find these things, right? Then we have what I told you about where the line is right now. Right now we're under pace for the year, right? Usually it's 1,000 deaths 1,000 killings per year, but it's 660 right now. And we're headed to the end of the year under Trump. So the police killings are down. But what are we seeing? What did Reagan do to stop racism? What did Obama, Bush 2, Clinton, Bush 1, what did Reagan do to help stop racism? Nothing. He had the Iran-Contra scandal. Cocaine turned into Ready Rock, sold to finance the CIA war on the back of American blacks. On the back of American blacks. Where's the outrage for Obama doing nothing when more black men and more black women were victims. The excuse, okay, here's the excuse. This is the excuse, people. Here's the excuse. The excuse is Obama was the first black pres. His hands were tied.
You know, I have a question for you though, because when people say that, like now I don't say nothing because I'm just like exhausted. Like I'm literally like exhausted with the dumb shit. But did people forget that his first term, that the Democrats had the House and they had the Senate? So that was 4 years.
I mean, he pushed executive orders.
Stop with all that dumb shit.
I mean, he took 2 years,
Trump
2 years and a half to do healthcare.
And Obama had both, right?
Yeah, and he pushed through executive orders to help the Dreamers, the LGBTQ. Why couldn't he push
I mean, he could have, because I'm seeing how Trump is doing what the hell he want to do,
yeah,
and he don't have both parties in the House. Right. So
okay,
shit, somebody tell me something.
Okay, so here it is, people. This is where we need to get off the hamster wheel. This is like Westworld 3. Watch Westworld 3, season 3, New World, and this is what is programmed in your mind. What is programmed and where is it coming from? The excuse is Obama was the first black pres. His hands were tied. Excuses.
No,
but Trump,
it wasn't tied the first 4 years.
But Trump, he's a racist. He's not going to do, but because he's white, he can. Sounds like the self-hating, undervaluing, devaluing of what Obama could do versus a white man, white Jesus as savior syndrome. Say it again. Sounds like the self-hating, undervaluing, devaluation of what Obama could do versus a white man, white Jesus as savior syndrome. A lot of people are out there protesting to have the white power structure do something for them. Instead of being out there and saying, you owe us this, and this is why we're out here, and this is why we're not going to give you our vote either way until you pay us what you owe us. We can be the biggest thorn, the biggest burr in your side for the rest of this existence until you pay us what you owe us. We will stop buying your product. We will stop voting for you. We will stop believing in you. We will stop watching your TV programs. We will cut off your cable. We will go and produce for ourselves, entertain ourselves, provide for ourselves, have clothing created by ourselves, have food created by ourselves. We will cut you off. But a lot of the people are not about that. They're out there not protesting to say that this is the start of that. But they are out there on the protest to say, please do this for us. Look how good. And that is the problem. Where are you in Westworld? Are you Dolores? Are you Maeve? Or are you Bernard? And you have to figure out who you are. If you're yelling at Trump, but not Obama
or Pelosi or Schumer
for having higher numbers of police killing black men than Trump, right? If you're yelling at Trump, but not Obama for having higher numbers of police killing black men than Trump, you are a Dixiecrat coon.
You don't have the scene from Spike Lee's movie, what is that? The College.
Do the Right Thing.
No. Not Do the Right Thing. Tisha Campbell, Lawrence Fishburne. School Days. Yeah. You don't have the end. You don't have the scene at the end of School Days when they say, "Wake up,
wake up, wake up." Still gotta wake up. Look, Tanya Congress says people don't know why they are saying and what they say about Obama. They just they just because he was black. They say it just because he was black, supposedly black. Ray Carlisle says Matrix is true. I understand why people say that. The Obama effect is a lack of votes due to not doing for black people. Tanya Congress says self-containing is what is needed to happen.
Thank you,
School
Tanya.
days. Thank you. Yes.
Days, okay.
What is the media feeding you? We're going to pick this up because we want to get through all this. We got 13 minutes left.
Thank you, Uncle Ray. Uncle Ray's watching.
All right. What is the media feeding you?
Okay.
Back in April, Dr. Burks displayed a chart of predicted deaths for COVID-19. They predicted if nothing was done, 2 million would die, and with social distancing, 240,000 Americans would still die. Right?
Right.
So let me play this real quick. This is very important.
So always, and that's what this slide is labeled, is goals of community mitigation. Really highlighting that this begins in the middle and the end with community. It is community and the community of the American people that are going to have to do the things for the next 30 days to make a difference. I think you know from that large blue mountain that you can see behind me, and I just want to thank the 5 or 6 international and domestic modelers from Harvard, from Columbia, from Northeastern, from Imperial, who helped us tremendously. It was their models that created the ability to see what these mitigations could do, how steeply they could depress the curve from that giant blue mountain down to that more stippled area. In their estimates, they had between 1.5 million and 2.2 million people in the United States succumbing to this virus without mitigation. Yet through their detailed studies and showing us what social distancing would do, what would happen if people stayed home, what would happen if people were careful every day to wash their hands and worry about touching their faces, that what an extraordinary thing this could be if every American followed these. And it takes us to that stippled mountain that's much lower, a hill actually, down to 100 to 200,000 deaths, which is still way too much. But
all right, people. So look, you see there? If we did nothing, it would be 2 million dead, right? Now look, we talked about this last week. We talked about the number disparity. Something's wrong. Last week it was like 5.4 million, and they said that it was 175,000 died. But I said I observed. That's my word. I observed that. That's theorized in observation. Observed that where's the number of people who were cured from it, right? So right now it's at 5.9 million have caught this, right? Okay. And it's at 183,000 who have died now. Right. And Rachel Maddow on the show on Friday said that they're saying by December it's going to be 300,000. They are listening to us, people. The media is listening to TFR, hashtag TFR Podcast Live. They are listening to us, and they had to readjust the numbers to say 300,000 by December, right? That is still under the 2 million if nothing was done. Now, the 240 was supposed to be just for April if nothing was done. So that means that we're in August and it's under 240,000. It's just getting to 183,000. That would seem like success unless you're trying to make the man a one-term president. Love him or hate him, they're trying to make him one-term president, which means they're lying to you. And how come they're not subtracting the people who are cured and the people who have died from that large number? So they show you all the people who caught it, the people who have passed, the people who have been cured, and then you take the death and the cured number and subtract it from that, and these are how many people currently have it. But it would be, they're just compounding numbers without giving you anything. So this is what Rachel Maddow had to say right here. Now this is on a slightly different subject because they scrub clean when they show you something that doesn't make sense by saying that 300,000 by the end of December. They just pulled that number out their butt, right? But check this out.
But if statewide testing is screwed up and that screws up one state's epidemic, you can say the same thing for the country. For months, nationally, the CDC has said that any American who's been in close contact with somebody infected with COVID should be tested. That's one of the reasons you should be tested if you've had contact with somebody who's positive. That's been their advice all along until Monday this week when the CDC quietly and inexplicably changed their guidelines to say people who've been exposed to someone positive, quote, do not necessarily need a test. Why would they do that? Since then, the current CDC director, Director Redfield, has attempted to walk back those comments, saying, okay, maybe people who've been exposed could be tested. But the genie is already out of the bottle, and confusion is failure when it comes to public health guidelines.
Okay, people, look. The media is slowly trying to edge into, we told you this a month ago, it's herd immunity time. When you saw Trump up there with the people and they didn't have masks on, and we told you what herd immunity is, all you have to do is just research it. It's herd immunity time. And the media is not going to tell you that. They're going to show you where they're doing wrong. But the social distancing crowd has kind of moved out the White House, and now we're looking at herd immunity. And those who will catch it, the elderly will die, the people in the middle, some will catch it and die, but for the most part, the young people and the people in the middle will keep the population going because 70 to 90% of the people will have caught it. Those who have never gotten it because they're around people who have had it will not catch it. That's herd immunity. This is what we're in now, and they're not telling you. Yes, the media listened when hashtag TFR Podcast Live covered how many have been cured because the cases number doesn't add up to the number dead while they are compounding the cases number, right? They are not subtracting the cured and the dead numbers, which brings us to love in the time of Corona. See, when it all boils down to it, when we see these people, when we see people pass like Chadwick Boseman, it comes down to love in the time of Corona, right? The media is an irresponsible loaded gun that tosses stuff out there without good research. That's Tanya Congress saying that, right? So look, love in the time of Corona. It's on Freeform channel, right? It's a romantic comedy. The first production using remote technology to film virtually. Production began June 29th, 2020. Premise: follows lives of people who are looking for love, sex, and connection during the COVID-19 pandemic while social distancing. That's the premise of the show, right? So when people are dying, love in the time of Corona, you just deal with your loved ones. A lot of people have broken up because of
Hulu too.
On Hulu, right? A lot of people are breaking up. They found that their relationship couldn't withstand that. When all you have is the love during the time of Corona, right? So let's break this down real quick, and we're going to give you the average on this show. This is on Freeform and Hulu. Right. Love in the time of Corona. The technology, using the technology to shoot it virtually, that's a 10. Storyline through lines of the 4-episode series, that's a 7. characters are a 7 because they're actual. Well, one couple for sure is a couple who is actually married, right? Film angles, actors positioning the camera so they can shoot it, then it's sent there to be edited up. That's an 8. Premise, that's a 7. Capture of love and relationships during a pandemic, that's a 10. I get out of 10. Drama within comedy romance, the drama within it, that's 10. The mean average on it for Love in the Time of Corona, what would you give Love in the Time of Corona?
It's a good show. I like how it's interesting. I love the different characters and stuff because it's just, there are multiple stories, right? So kind of reminds me of, do you remember that show years ago? What is it, Love American Style?
Okay, yeah.
And every Friday it was a different episode with a different couple. So that's how this is, right? So I agree with you. I would give it the same rating. I mean, it's interesting. The characters are interesting. Great acting.
So give a number.
Oh, I give it a 10. Because it's interesting.
Oh, you give it a 10.
You know I would give it a 10?
Why?
Because we're dealing with COVID-19 right now. And those characters are dealing with COVID-19. And I see some of the things that some of the different characters do that like we're doing, or I see other people doing it on social media. So it's like you can kind of relate.
It's almost interactive, and
it's
like
almost
it's
interactive.
now because it was shot in June 2000.
Right.
So anyway, the average mean from what I did: technology 10, storyline, through line 7, characters 7, film angles, positioned by the actors, the cameras 8, premise 7, capture of love relationships during a pandemic, that's a 10, drama within comedy romance 10. The average for me for Love in the Time of Corona is 8.4.
You know what we left out?
What's that?
And one of the reasons I gave it a 10 is I love how the cast is diverse.
Okay.
You have multiple age groups. You have elderly, you have young, you have middle age. And again, they're all dealing with the China virus.
With the China virus, that's right.
So I mean, it was nice. It's not just one age group. It's not just one group of people. It's just like you get to see the different storylines from just like from everybody. You know, all races, all ages. I mean, they did a really good job. Because when you watch it, you don't feel like you're alone. Because it's like we're literally like just all in it together around the world. On this globe, on this earth, on this thing we call Earth.
On this rock, third rock from the sun.
We're all in it together, and they're dealing with the same stuff. So it's just funny, you know. You find yourself laughing. It's a lighthearted show.
Make sure you check out Love during the time of not COVID, but Corona. But it's COVID-19.
COVID-19.
This has been another great, robust episode of the Film Review. Remember to make sure that you smash the like button, smash the share button. Make sure that you go over to $TFR Podcast Live on Cash App and smash a few dollars on the Cash App. And again, as we close, condolences.
Condolences is so heartbreaking because we always look forward to a Chadwick Boseman project. You knew it was going to be a good project.
That's right. So condolences to his family, friends, workers, co-workers, people who he's touched their life personally. Condolences to you. This has been the Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast, and we will see you next week. I love this show.
The Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast, interviews, movie reviews, and more. Live Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on the Film Review Live channel. Subscribe.
Hi, Hi, this is Bernadette Stannis, Thelma from Good Times, and you're watching The Film Review.